Welcome back everybody to the Cirque Show 24/7, and this is Man of Steel review. So, let's get right into it. Alright guys, Man of Steel movie review. Now, before I get into it and stuff, I just want to let you know right off the bat that it's going to be a spoiler-free review, and I am not a big Superman fan. So I just want you to know that I know a lot about Superman, but I'm not the biggest fan of his, you know. So I want you to know that because this is going to be like the most honest opinion that you're going to see on YouTube. This is going to be the most honest review that you see on YouTube from a person who was not a Superman fan. And, alright, Man of Steel is probably one of the best origin stories for a superhero movie I've seen ever. And that's talking with, you know, the original Batman, or that's not even an origin, but, you know, the Christopher Nolan Batman Begins, Iron Man, Thor, you know, Captain America. I saw this early. I got an advanced screening for it, and I have to say, like, this movie showed me why Superman was and is the greatest superhero of all time, and that's what made me really enjoy this movie a lot. And this is coming from a huge Batman fan. I think what made this movie good for me is you take a character who is supposed to be who's supposed to be the #1 superhero character in the world, and he's not. And you take him and you make him relevant, and you make him likable, you make him relatable, and once that you find that recipe, then it's bound for success. And this movie did it in all aspects. I don't know, like, I came out the movie theater like super shocked of how much I really enjoyed this. And it's funny because Superman is the first superhero. He is the superhero. He is the icon and stuff. And for all these years, he never got his recognition because he was never relatable. You can't relate to a guy who can do everything. He's basically God. You know what I mean? You can never relate to him. So I always, when I was a kid, I always related to Batman because you can do everything that Batman can do if you train hard because he's human and stuff. But when I was a kid, like every kid, you always wanted to learn how to fly. The reason why you wanted to learn how to fly is because this guy. You saw him on the screen, and he starts flying, and you want to. He has that about him, and that's one thing I always respect about the character. I was never a big fan of him, but I respected the character because once in every kid's life, when you were a kid, you always thought about flying, and that's the reason why. And then once you get older, you start seeing better superheroes or cooler superheroes and stuff, and you forget about who kind of brought you into it and who kind of introduced you into the superhero, which was Superman. And I'm guilty of it just as much as a lot of people. Once like Batman came into my life and stuff, I forgot being a kid and wanted to learn how to fly. And the reason I wanted to learn how to fly because I saw like the old school TV show, the old school movies, the old school cartoons, and he was just flying in air, and I thought that was cool. And I don't know, just this movie just made me feel like a kid again, like me watching the TV shows, watching cartoons, saying, "Ah, that looks so cool. I want to be just like him." And just the story of it, the way they handle him as a character, and you could tell. Okay, what's so good about this movie? This is a Zack Snyder movie with sprinkles of Christopher Nolan in it. And that's good. I like the fact that Zack Snyder took this and made it his own. He didn't try to copy off Christopher Nolan or anything. He made it into his own, and he had great help. He had great support, and I think he did a fantastic job. I read other people's reviews, and they don't like certain things about it, but I don't think they know what they're talking about. A lot of people are saying like, oh, it's too slow or it's too much action, and it's so much action, but it's not a lot of emotional stuff. I don't know what they're talking about. The first, and this is a no spoiler review, but the first, like, I say 20, 30 minutes is just how he became him. You know, how he became, Clark Kent. What kind of trials and tribulations he had to go through, and what really, really made this movie for me was not the action, but the sacrifices people who cared about Clark or Kal-El, the sacrifices they had to make because they believed in him. And that's what really stuck to me, because that's what molded him into the man that he is now in the movie. And that really, really made my day watching it. And I was just really enthralled and just really, just captured by just the way you have these people, like his original mother and father, and how they have to sacrifice because they know he's destined for greatness and he can't be with them, so they have to sacrifice himself and his father and stuff. And this is not a spoiler, but the way his father has to sacrifice himself so he can understand how important he is, that really touched me a lot, and I really, really enjoyed that. The action scenes are good. Henry Cavill, God, he is a Superman for me. He just embodies what I think Superman needs to be, because he's not like this Boy Scout like you see in the cartoons and you see in like the comics and stuff. He's not this Boy Scout. He's got issues. He's got he's dark. He has trouble getting through life and stuff, and I like that. And he's going back and forth and trying to really figure out who he is as a person, as a man, and just his whole journey to becoming the Man of Steel is just really good. And I like that, and I like how Henry Cavill really portrayed him, and he fits the part, because I think why a lot of people don't really like Superman is because, yes, he can do everything, but you can't relate to him. He can do all this, but he doesn't really fight that much. He get a punch and stuff, but for my Superman that I would like to see and that I saw, I like the fact that he has a softer side, but at the same time, he can kick your ass at a blink of an eye. I like the fact that he is the Man of Steel. He is tough. He throws punches, and he's not afraid of it. He's willing to get dirty. He's willing to really fight, really go hardcore. And at the same time, you still see the softness, in it. I know it sounds weird, but you see like the softness and the kindness, and in his eyes that he wants to do the right thing, and he's struggling to really trying to find that balance. And that's what really, embodies us, for me, Superman is a guy who's tough, but at the same time soft at the same time, and who can just turn it on like that. And you believe like, okay, this guy can kick my ass. And that's what I saw in him. He's big, he's got the looks, and I don't know, man. It was really good. The villains were really good. General Zod, he was great. Michael Shannon, he played a great General Zod. But for me, I like the other one, like his right hand, like woman. She was just fantastic. Like, man, just if you haven't seen it yet, but the scenes with her, she steals the show for me. She was just great. But I think what really makes this is the father and son dynamic, because you have to realize he has two fathers, he has two mothers. But what really drives this story home is how both of his fathers, his Earth father and his alien father, they want the same thing, but they go about it different ways. They want him to be destined for greatness, but Jor-El knows he's destined for greatness, and he knows that for a fact. He just needs to be focused and stuff. But Paul Kent knows he's destined for greatness, but at the same time, he doesn't want that to be shown, because he sees Clark as his son, and he wants to protect his son. So he's like, yo, I know you saved this kid, but maybe try not to save somebody next time. I know that sounds, mean and stuff, but I have to protect you, I have to protect your mom, and you have to think about this, how this can affect the family and the people you love. And I like that he wants his son to do good, but at the same time he doesn't want to expose his son for danger and stuff. And that really was just really, really good. The score was amazing. The score was amazing by Hans Zimmer. It really is another character, and I don't think it's another like composer out there who does scores and makes it into a character and makes it just, you're in. When you hear it, like, oh, Superman is coming. When you hear it, oh, General Zod's coming. And I like the fact that he can make his music and he can compose your music to where without even seeing the person yet who's coming, because that music has its own character and it's with its own character. So it can be another scene, you hear like this something like that, and Superman is on his way to save the day. So I really, really enjoyed that. It's shot really beautifully. The stuff on Krypton is amazing. The movie starts off with Krypton, and I feel like I could have just watched the whole movie just Krypton. Like, I would have been okay with just watching a whole movie about Krypton. That's how great I thought they portrayed Krypton. The science, the evolution, the history that they established in Krypton, the animals, the way, the technology, the way the suits and stuff, the way they have to wear the suits, and how he gets his suit. It's just regular clothes to them, and then they wear armor on top of it. And I thought that was a smart, brilliant way. Like I said, I know some stuff about Superman, but I don't know a lot like I know about Batman. So I don't know if stuff like this is in the comics or if they came up with that in the story with the technology and just the culture of Krypton. Because if they did, and if they just came up with that, then that's just brilliance. For me, that's brilliance, because it all flowed together and you believed it. You really did believe that this was a real place and all this stuff can actually happen. And I like the fact that when you're on Earth and he comes out to be Superman, they battle in real places like IHOP, 7-Eleven, I think a Sears. They were fighting. Like, okay, Superman can be fighting at Sears, right? I like that they brought real places into this movie to make it feel more real, and that really was a highlight for me to just see that. Amy Adams, I thought she was a good Lois Lane. To me, I didn't care too much about the character. She was still great. I didn't care too much about the character, but for what she was dealt with and the script she was given, she did great. She did good. But it was just a character where I'm like, I don't really care about her. I'm here for Superman, and I'm here for Jor-El. You know what I mean? So that's what I was there for, and I really did enjoy it. And it was weird because, like I said, I'm a Batman fan, but coming out of this movie, I think I enjoyed this movie more than I enjoyed Dark Knight Rises. And I saw Dark Knight Rises 13 times. And I've only seen this once, but when I came out of there, I was just so shocked and just so relieved that, and just so, I don't know, it was the weirdest thing to where I'm like, wow, I can get behind the Superman. This is what a superhero is supposed to be, and that's why I love superheroes, because of what it can do to you, what it makes you expand your horizon. It makes you think like, oh wow, that's so cool, and it just gives you like that hope. And this movie, it sounds like weird coming from like a grown ass man, but like when you see him in the suit and you see him flying and you see him making these tough decisions, you really believe like he's actually real. And I didn't get that from the last Batman. And I love I cried in the last Batman, Dark Knight Rises. I cried towards it. I'm not even afraid to say it, but I just felt a whole different way. Maybe because I wasn't expecting that much from it, and it just shocked me, and it just threw me off on my ass. But I came out of there, very, very pleased. It was a great, great movie. For me, a 10 out of 10. The only thing I didn't like about it was at the end. It's not a real spoiler, so don't even worry about it. But at the end, he's once he does whatever he does, he goes in and he's Clark Kent, the reporter. I didn't want to see that. I didn't want him to have to be. I was hoping that he didn't never have to be in the Daily Planet. You know what I mean? He could just be Clark Kent, just a guy who's Superman. I don't need him to be in the Daily Planet trying to find a secret identity, because then that takes it out a little bit. Because then you're basically saying, okay, he's Superman. People seen him up close and stuff. When he puts on the glasses, no one can recognize him. So that was the only thing I didn't care too much about. But I know that's part of his history, so you have to kind of put that in there. But I would have been fine if they didn't. So it doesn't take no points away from him. But I was hoping, and I was just wishing that they didn't have to bring him into like the Daily Planet and stuff like that. So overall, it was still a fantastic, just a fantastic movie. I recommend it to anybody. I was so hyped. I bought this, like, I don't even know how big the statue is, but it's badass, and I enjoy it, and I recommend it to anybody. So please tell me, have you seen Man of Steel? What did you think? Did you really like it? Did you hate it? Because I know a lot of people are like this and that. So please comment below, let me know. And as always, this is the Search Show 24/7. Be easy.